Good afternoon. My name is Sydney Martin, and I'm going to be discussing the topic of economic growth and inequalities. I would like to start you guys off with a thought-provoking question. Does income inequality harm economic growth? In my opinion, I think yes, and here is why. Today, I'm going to be discussing the three main reasons that I side with this argument. I will be discussing the trickle-down effect, how it works and what we can do to implement this, the effects of the top 1% in our economy, and the importance of education. To begin, let's start by explaining what the trickle-down effect is. I know we've heard about this in our classes and everyday life, so I wanted to kind of explain what that really means. This is when the fashion flows vertically from the upper classes to the lower classes within society, each social class influenced by a higher social class. So the issues that would arise from this method are the 1% having control of the playing field. If the top 1% of the world's richest people do not spend their money, the rest of us are left in an upside-down economy with higher unemployment rates. They have the capability of changing our economy as we know it today by opening up more jobs, contributing to the salaries of families that truly need it most. According to a study done that I found in my research at the University of Pennsylvania, the richest 10% of the population in OECD countries earns 9.5 times more than the poorest 10%, and I found that to be a very shocking number. To clarify, the OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. In the 1980s, the ratio was 7 to 1, and the income gap was at its highest level in the past 30 years. These numbers create a massive roadblock for underprivileged families in our country, as the ratio of the spread of money across our nation is very uneven. To end my first point about the trickle-down effect, our economy, according to the OECD, has a gap between the richest and the poorest in most of our member countries to be its highest in the past 30 years. Secondly, I want to talk to you guys about the effects of the top 1%. I feel that this term is used so often in our classes at school, yet we don't fully understand what this really means. So, according to a new study from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, there is and has been a reduction of economic growth because of the global concentration of income among a smaller portion of the global population. I want to show you guys a graph of the impact of the 1% in just the United States alone. As you're going to be able to see, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the top 1% completely dominates this chart. I mean, the lines that I'm going to show you, it is just incredible, the gap that we can see. One side shows us the economy before taxes, and then the changes in share of income after taxes. And it's about around 1979 with the graph I'm going to show you. And it just truly blows my mind to see how far apart these lines are from the top 1% to even the top 20. So here's my first form of visual aid. I'm going to let you guys kind of take a look at it for a second. So as you can see, we have before taxes, and then 1979 versus after taxes, and they're truly there is a difference, but it is really not that drastic. So this darker thick gray line is showing us at $0.5 million before taxes. This is knowing us the top 1%, and has increased to over $2 million, leaving even the top 20% as being so much lower, let alone the bottom 20%. And as you can see, in 1979 after taxes, you can see that we are now even into the negative 30%, as just getting decreasing and decreasing as the top 1% continues to make more and more money. And I just found this chart off of the congressionalbudgetoffice.com, and I just thought it was very interesting. The next form of visual aid I would like to show you guys is if the U.S. land were divided like U.S. wealth. I will again let you guys take a look at this. So, as I explained this, the top 1% would own the entire almost western half of the United States, and that just truly blew my mind. 9% would be able to own the eastern side, 30% this lower south, 20 would own just this little piece right here, and then 40%, there's a tiny little dot, I'm not sure that you can see very well, would own just that little dot. And this is truly just mind-boggling to me, as 1% of the country making the most money can own this much of the United States. And I really liked how they incorporated this into showing us a format on the United States, kind of to scale the graph. The last chart I would like to show you guys is an income inequality in California alone, showing us the average income. So again, I will let you guys look at this. So this is showing us this tiny little sliver that we see right here, this white sliver. This is the average income for the bottom 99% in California of earners of $45,775. So as you can see, that is in today's society not a very high income. People obviously are wanting to earn more than that, and so that's bottom 99% at $45,000, which I thought was just very interesting, leaving 1% as the average income for the top 1% of income earners being $1,598,161. I just feel that if we would use the trickle-down effect and educate our students, they would be able to at least maybe make this graph to a third or a half, or just try to make things a little bit more fair, as this income inequality truly is affecting this economic growth. The 1% is not allowing the normal, or I guess you say bottom 99%, most people in our country to reach those levels that the 1% is getting. And I got this information from the Economic Policy Institute. Okay, so lastly, I would like to stress that what I deem as the most important part in proving that economic inequality does harm economic growth, and that being education. According to Scarpetta, who I referenced earlier, it is imperative that countries invest in early childhood education. When some of the most important building blocks are made, that is when we see the most improvement. Increased access and improved equality for education for those from low socioeconomic backgrounds are equally important, he states. An even bigger challenge is to skill and reskill those who are already in the labor markets, because their existing skills may no longer adapt in the way which economies have evolved. So what I took from that is, in my research, I found that education is the key. A lack of investment in education by the poor is the main factor behind the inequality hurting our growth. I think that this is truly the most influential aspect to answering the question of whether or not this does harm our economy. Because if we had everybody educated, I believe that there would be a greater chance of success in raising that 99% closer to maybe 75% or even 50% of those inequalities that we have today. So I just want to thank you very much for your time. I was very interested in researching this, as I know this is a problem for many families in our society today. I hope that I have been informative to you, and that you have seen my opinion and possibly sided with how I feel about income inequality affecting the economic growth. So thank you for watching, and I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. So thank you.